Welcome to Office Hours with Amber. I'm Amber. This is Office Hours. If you watch that little intro clip, that's the normal scenario this format works with, but I did not account for having 5 weeks in a month. But consequently, there was 5 weeks in the month of March, and my birthday is on April 5th. So therefore, today is Amber Johnson's 30th birthday stream. Woo! Party time! Party time! And yes, I did sew this jacket myself, so if anything looks funky, no, it doesn't. You can't tell anyway. I've been shedding this all over my apartment today. And in good Taylor Swift fashion, we are going to be doing the Amber's version of the Eras Tour today. So I have a PowerPoint presentation cooked up, and you can definitely tell which slides I took a lot of time on, and then you're going to really tell the ones I didn't. So I'm not going to try to speed up the process. I'm just going to present as as the eras come, and if we have too much content, then we'll probably do a part 2 at some other point. But thank you so much for coming. If you have any funny Amber memories, stories, quotes, whatever, I am really leaning into loving talking about myself. So this is my week to talk all about me. So let's do it. Okay, so with the PowerPoint. Okay. Ta-da! The Eras Tour, Amber's version. And yes, this is all done in PowerPoint. So actually, technically, Office Hours with Amber, we're still really utilizing Microsoft Office. So without further ado, this is there's a lot of you folks that I've met in my later years of life, the last 2-3 years, and we're about to go on a journey 30 years into the past and really get to know the bones of Amber. So let's do it. So we're gonna start at the very beginning with Baby Jams. So we're gonna bounce around this screen. I wonder if you can see my pointer. Let me do a laser pointer. Yes, you can see the laser pointer. Great. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. This is my mom. This is Donna, my sister Jody, my dad James up here in the corner. And so if you know one thing about me is that I am snuggly as all get out. And as you can see, my later years, no matter how heavy I am, I will always sit directly on my mom. Now, in both of these photos, she looks absolutely thrilled, but I think deep down she does really love it when I do that. She did submit a video that we'll watch after this, but just gonna kind of work one cute little photo of myself at a time. Now up here in the top left, this is we're also gonna take a journey on my musical taste over the time. So my first love of music came with the Judds. My mom had a cassette tape of the Judds, and that's where we were rocking with the rain, Rhythm of the Rain. Grandpa tell me about the good old days. The Judds, 10 out of 10. Yeah, so all in all, I'm cute as fuck. I don't think we, didn't see that coming. But a key photo I want to point out is here in the bottom right is what you might not be able to kind of see through the YouTube live is I am a very sweaty sleeper. So the funny thing about that is that I had this little stuffed animal dog named Sweaty Dog, and I named it Sweaty Dog because I thought that was the reason I sweat in my sleep. Not to mention the fact I slept with like 15 blankets on top of me. That couldn't have been the reason, but I thought Sweaty Dog was it. Slept with him every night, and so that is where we're actually going to take our first video submission from my mom, because I went around and asked all of my friends and family to submit things. I was like, tell me all the nice things about myself. So we've got a video from Donna Johnson. I hope this comes through correctly.
One of my favorite memories is in this room. Amber used to take and throw her dog, she called him Sweaty Dog, underneath the bed. And she'd go, Mom, Sweaty Dog is lost. It's very dramatic.
Me? Dramatic? Could never.
And she always tried to prolong going to bed. And then she started doing the special kisses at bedtime. Eskimo and 1 eye, 2 eye, and then and she just made it longer each night. She wasn't much of a sleeper, but I really do enjoy all those memories.
Crazy idea, guys, that I have always put off sleep, even from the very, very beginning of it. But thank you, Mom, for submitting. Also, thank you for chirping in the chat. So glad you guys are here for this. But yes, that is Baby Jams. Now we're going to take an extreme step to the right. And this is elementary school Amber. And she's starting to grow a personality. So an important detail here in the first clip is that growing up, we used to watch a lot of movies as a family Saturday mornings. And so we had a movie we watched so frequently called Shanghai Noon. And in that movie, there's Lucy Liu that plays Princess Pepe, but my family could not get past the fact that we all called her Princess PP, and that she always wore these like beautiful silk gowns and all this like glittery, fantastic things. So that's where my mom created the idea, the Princess PP Club. And so it was a way for her to foster a relationship between me and my sister. It was like a good way to say, what were the good things of the week? What are your favorite foods? What are your favorite movies? And we'd talk on Saturdays, watch some movies, and play Princess PP Club. Yes, this is my mom. Donna MJ69 is my mom in the chat. Yes, love her so much. But yes, so we had the Princess PP Club. And up in the top right, another thing is that when we were rolling around in the Ford Escort, my mom had a Savage Garden CD. It was orange, and I would only ask, please play the orange CD. I want to hear Chicka Cherry Cola. And to this day, I still love them. However, when Google came out in 2008, I Googled Savage Garden, and I found out they were boys. That was news to me. But we'll keep going. Now, this is where we need to realize that I am the epitome of fashion at all times. And so in 2000, I guess this would have been 2004 or 2005 for sure. I was in 5th grade, and I begged my mom to get me gauchos. Literally begged, because all the cool girls had the gauchos, the flowy pants. And that was like the uniform was Bobby Jack t-shirts. It says, I'm perfect. What else do I need? She was ahead of her time. So Bobby Jack t-shirts and gauchos. Now the real problem about the gauchos, and I'm going to out myself here. So let's think we're on a long road trip as a family. Okay, we're gonna lock in here. Okay, here's the thing. It's 2005, maybe 2006. I'm in the gauchos. We're driving back from the hills of Virginia as a family. And if you know anything about the Johnson family, and also if this is like anyone professional watching this, this is a good way for you to understand that I'm a human, and maybe don't watch this before signing me. Okay, anyways. So we're driving on the way back from Virginia. We're 10 minutes away from home, and I'm like, my stomach, it don't feel so good. So we're on the way, and I was like, Dad, pull over, I'm gonna die. We shit the gauchos. The gauchos I begged my mom to buy me, I pooped my pants in, and we had to throw them away. So yeah, that was a moment in time. Okay, anyways, we went down to the Fashion Bug, we got some gauchos, and they quickly died. Another musical influence at this time was Jennifer Lopez. I'm still Jenny from the block, and you know what? To this day, I'm still Amber from the crop. Came from the farmlands. So OG Jenny for life. Okay, third thing on here is Bratz dolls. This is a very, again, Jody was in the backseat for the gauchos incident. I'm so sorry for that. I was so embarrassed. Anyways, another huge thing for me was these like clog heels, and even to this day they still serve. I still love them. I wanted to be a Bratz doll so bad, but I didn't realize at the time that like that's not what 5th graders wear. But I got them anyway. My mom got them. She trusted my fashion vision and let me go with it. The thing about those is I wore those all the time, to the point I forgot my gym shoes at school one day, and I had to run the mile in those. I'd do it again. Yep. Okay. Anyways, moving on. Middle school Amber. This is when the animation stopped because I could not be bothered. So there's a lot to unpack here. I was obviously super duper cool. I played the clarinet. ripped. And you see this little hair moment I've got going on? I think I can zoom in on it. Yeah, you see the hair we've got going? That's what it looks like when you try to be. I was obsessed with Twilight, so I got the like Alice Cullen, flip thing happen. But what I didn't realize is that you need to like blow dry and like maintain it. But so most of my days I looked like damn Coconut Head, and that's okay. I think it was a canon. There's a lot of canon moments that had to happen. But yeah, so as that grew out, it just became Coconut. This is a clarinet. Thank you for noticing. I went in seventh grade, and the funny thing about band is I originally only started playing an instrument so I could get into color guard and winter guard sooner with the flags and stuff. That's like 100%. When I was testing out all of the different instruments, they like let you go around and try everything. The problem with that is that I was like, oh, I want to be a flautist. I want to be a flute player. And they're like, your fingers are too fat. Go play clarinet because these skinny bitches can't cover the holes. Don't take it away from them. So that was the first body shaming that I experienced, was trying out for the damn clarinet. I digress. Another musical influence, obviously the clarinet, we couldn't be bothered to be too classically inclined, but Evanescence cracked off. This was right around the time that Yahoo Music, I could play it on Yahoo Music, and I was obsessed with the Going Under music video. Too good. Okay. Another pretty critical point here is that this is around the time that I got into GameCube and my love of video games really took off. Now, the funny thing about these games, if you know Animal Crossing, Chibi Robo, and Harvest Moon, those are one-player games. One. Look at all these girls I had at my birthday party. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All of these 6 girls. And I was like, you want to watch me play Harvest Moon? And they're like, no. Why would we want to do that? So we went on the trampoline and we got over it. However, my concept of like what people wanted to do cracked. But anyway, so yeah, middle school. Pretty cool. The funny thing is, another thing about this girl right here, you might look at her and say, wow, she looks a little beaten up. Like her essence is a little not looking so good. Critical thing. Let's zoom back in. Self view. Okay, this is the heart to heart again. Oh my gosh, Allison, thank you so much. Okay, so let's imagine 8th grade Amber. This is 2008. My understanding of the recession was nil. This was right around the time Al Gore was talking about global warming. So I went in public 8th grade, Sturgis, Michigan. I was in class. I went from a social studies class where we were learning world religions, Buddhism, Muslim, Christianity, Catholicism, all this stuff. So we get to Christianity and he goes, raise of hands, who's baptized? So everyone raises their hands except for me and one other girl. And I'm like, what does that mean? I'm not religious. I don't know. Not that my mom didn't try. She did. We just did not take it seriously. That's my own fault. But I didn't know. I was like, what's that about? And he was like, well, in the Christian faith, you're probably going to hell if you don't get baptized. Okay. I was like, damn, whatever. So I didn't think about it. I walked my happy ass across the hall to science class, and then they're talking about, yeah, global warming. If the poles switch, there's going to be apocalypse and you're going to die. And I'm like, and I'm not even baptized? So I cried all the time. And also, this was right around the time that was my first instance of the proposed apocalypse of 2012. I don't know if y'all like remembered that, but I cried for 2 years straight thinking I was going to go to hell because I wasn't baptized and 2012 the Mayan calendar was going to end and I was going to die. So really the ipso facto of the whole thing I'm talking about here is that's where my anxiety started. So yeah, when we look back at the PowerPoint, this girl's beat up because she thought she was going to hell before she was. I literally thought to myself, I was like, I'm going to die a virgin. Who could be bothered? Okay, moving on. Now, here's a critical thing, is I got into high school, and this is right around my sister's preparing to go to college. So she was a senior, and I was a freshman. And so I was seeing all the stuff she had to do. And so all I heard was, we don't have enough money to, like, put you through college. And I was like, fair. So I thought if I just do every club, every sport, everything, I'll get so much scholarships I won't even have to pay for college. So I did everything, just not well. I did a lot of things really badly. So when we think about where Office Hours with Amber and Try New Things Challenge came from, really, I've just been really good at being bad at things for a long time. So in terms of all of the things I did, marching band and track, cross country and diving and Key Club and National Honor Society. I worked at Kmart when that was a thing, also GameStop. And then we'll also get into Business Professional of America. The key thing is, though, I did all that shit and then also dated losers. Who had the time? How did I do anything? I literally wasted so much time, but it was for the plot. So, starting with my sports career, obviously what you'll see here is my swimming career always looked like this because one, I was a horrible swimmer, but I had to swim because I was a horrible diver. So to maintain my spot on the team, I had to do like the exhibition of the exhibition, JV of the JV, like just swim down and back. Yes, Jody, I did all of that. There's two reasons why I did all of that. I'll get to the second reason here shortly. So I actually was pretty decent at high jump, but that is only because I hit a growth spurt and I was tall enough to fall over the damn thing. That's it. I have no hops, but neither did everyone else. Hey, Don. Thank you so much. So one key thing I'm going to look at here is the cross-country knees. And so a very funny story about that is I did cross-country just to like bide my time until track season came back around. I thought if I just keep training, I'm going to be so good at this. No, that actually never was the case. I could run a 5K, but so often I would either, I had gotten actually, we need to tell oh my God, we got to tell the gallbladder story. Okay, actually, we're going to have a one-on-one real quick. Let's imagine I'm a freshman in high school, freshman, sophomore, and I keep having pneumonia, bronchitis, all this stuff. So I'm a sophomore and I get x-rays because I have like a horrible, pneumonia, like I'm just dead on the inside, hallucinating the whole nine. So they do this x-ray and then they were like, not only do you have pneumonia, you also have scoliosis. And I was like, what's that? So I got a curvy spine. There's pictures to come. Now let's imagine it's the next year. I now am having like the craziest pains in my stomach. We go to the hospital. They think I'm constipated, those bitches. So they give me a misdiagnosed enema at 17. Rude. Literally traumatizing. We're past it, but that was so fucked. It was the night before the ACT as well. We're just giving you all the information. So let's imagine. They finally figure out, they do another x-ray. This is like a year or two after the first x-ray. They're like, not only are you having a gallbladder attack, your scoliosis has gotten significantly worse. You're going to be in a back brace your senior year. What? I was so pissed and also very heavily not okay. Because not only did I have to get my gallbladder out, I also had to get a back brace. So 10 out of 10, would not recommend. But if y'all don't know anything about the gallbladder, it is this little organ that produces bile to help you digest bullshit food. Guess who's eating a lot of bullshit food? A 17-year-old. So yes, we've got full shimmy, we've got full shake. It's better when I'm not sitting down. We can do a little bit later. So let's imagine I'm now in cross country. I had just got my gallbladder out, so my digestion's a little weird. So not only is every cross country race a fight to keep everything inside, but so the number of like fallen soldier socks on 5Ks, 17 was definitely a time for that. So I learned humility real early. Now the key moment we're having here with this knee situation is this was a Dowagiac invite, and we were doing a warm-up, which a warm-up that includes 5 miles is like disgusting, and I hated it. It was never for me. I need to be so for real. But You're running around doing your thing. I hit a branch that like a root in the ground, and all the girls, I'm like obviously in the back, all the girls hear is thud, oof, and then me tumbling down this hill. So I just busted my knees all the way up. So then my team got to pick the like run out song, and they chose Another One Bites the Dust. Another one was me. Now, we need to sit here for a sec. Yeah, high school was not great. Let's just be so clear about that. The fact that I made it out alive and pretty cool, crazy. A lot of plot development there. The other thing about cross country is that we were at the Holly Invitational. There's hundreds of kids here. There's junior varsity and there's varsity. And I don't normally run varsity, but someone was sick. They're like, we need a sixth girl. And I said, kill me, actually. They're like, no, there's no way you'll get last. And I said, you know what? Sure. I'm just going to run my little ass off and get after it. And you know what? They were right. I didn't get last. I got second to last. The girl who came in last was the girl that had a seizure while running. So really, I was jogging along and I see this girl that's being medically attended to. And I'm like, uh-oh, that's not good. So, but a little subtext there is not only had she had a seizure, people had enough time to run a quarter mile to get help and get the quarter mile of helpers to come back. So really, I should have come in like double last place. So, yeah, cross country wasn't for me. Then marching band, we had a little bit of track. We also, I already get a spoiler alert, my spine's a little crooked, but the thing is, it kind of evens itself out. So my shoulders are always pretty flat, so nobody really notices except for me. So a lot of the times it'll be like the end of a long day and somebody will be like, oh, why are you walking like that? Like, why are you so like crippled? And I'm like, because like it hurts and you can't see it. But yeah, anyways, fucked back. And a picture of the back brace. So imagine going into your senior year with that thing on. And I'm also, let's go back to the first slide, sweaty girl. So imagine going from wearing a t-shirt, pretty normal. Now I had to wear these like tube sock wife beater tank tops. Then the back brace, which shoved my tits up into my throat. And then I also like couldn't bend. So like okay, we're going to do a demonstration. So like with a back brace, and also with a back brace, let's just zoom it on out. You can't bend like this. So it was a lot of like hinge moments. So I looked like one of those birds. So I was naturally gifted flexibility, which was wicked. I don't know if you could hear any of that. I was naturally given, which was wicked. However, for that purpose, how dare. Okay, I digress. We're moving forward. Cool, funny side plot action in high school is if you guys aren't familiar with a club called Business Professionals of America, essentially I've been competing Microsoft Excel products since I was 15. So when Microsoft Excel World Championships came around, I was like, this is already my people. So when I was in high school, I did BPA, and I actually went to nationals for word processing. So they just give you a whole like big Word document with like literal words on it. And then it gives you like, I want this formatted as a memo or a this or a that. And I got after it. So going to nationals. Now there's a funny story about these three folks sitting right here. I think it's Cade, Ryan, and I don't remember his last name or his first name. Chad, those three. So this is my first interaction of meeting other very technically minded people. And so the funny thing about them is I had not been to Chicago, like to hang out without my parents before. So going with like these complete strangers, essentially to me, like I knew my teacher, but that was about it. So we sat at a Caribou Coffee for 3 days, and they all were going to nationals for like Java, C, and like there was a third one like cybersecurity or something. So definitely two different vibes we were going in with, but they were like, it's extortionate to make us pay $20 for Wi-Fi, and so they spent like 2 days hacking this like page to get someone to give a password. So they were doing some I think it's gray hat coating. I don't know. They were doing some spooky stuff, but I learned you can really lean in and start to use technology for good or evil if you want to. Okay. Now here's a very critical life path moment, I would say, is Sam. Sam Zetterblad, my bestie of all time. Spoiler alert. So about Sam is bad at math. However, she had friends and a boat. Now, if we look at me, I was great at math, but I did not have friends nor a boat. And so that, obviously, 1 + 1 equals Sam got a D in math and I found my best friend. So that was the beginnings of our mutually beneficial, more beneficial for me, little organization that happened there. Sam is this character in the dotted bathing suit, and then our friend Miranda as well. So there's more to come with the Sam in the later years, and she kind of mixes in all the way through. But yes, she is a recurring theme, so buckle in. Now, I have to be so transparent. At this point, oh my gosh, we are missing a key moment here. Actually, we have some videos that I think are very critical to watch. So when I say I was bad at track, bad at sports, I think you really need to see it to believe it. So this is the track fail. So there's a few things you need to be mindful of here. There's 1 orange runner and 7 purple runners. Can you imagine which one I am? This is the 200-meter hurdles. Again, I was the only tall kid. So they just were said, hey, get on out there, do your best. Now, this is also a moment where this is like 7th, 8th grade track. So I wasn't in high school yet for this. And I didn't realize that people were wearing spikes, like cleats for this. So I was wearing the chunkiest dad Nikes, like New Balance types. So of course, what could go wrong? So I'm gonna get it to a point where we're rounding the corner because we slow. We see some purples and then 1 little orange kid. So what you can't see here is me sobbing. I'm like, you know when like the wind gets knocked out of you and you're just like, so my knees are just scraped to all hell. I mean, I think running and me just don't quite match, but I've watched this. This is actually one of my earliest YouTube videos. So another plot point that I think I've kind of glossed over is I've been making YouTube videos technically since 2006. So we're coming up on this is the 19th year of me making really silly stuff for the internet. So beware. I also laugh every time. Now I'm going to show you 2 cool videos. The only cool videos of me diving ever. And I will wear these as a badge of honor for the rest of my life.
Judge 6. 0.
Oh,
Amber.
take your time.
103C.
Yes,
Forward,
Harry, thank you so
1-1 half
much.
somersault
I did
up,
get back up. What doesn't kill you, make you stronger. Come on, Amber, do something. Should have trimmed the video. Guys, I'm pretty cool. There's a younger version of me that could do that. Now, the thing about diving is I only did it because I had a few friends that did it. And I was like, how hard could it be? Really freaking hard. I was terrified all the time. So I wore nose plugs and I sat at the bottom of the pool and I would just watch people dive the whole time. Because I was like, I learned 11 dives, but I pissed my pants every time. Nobody could tell. Now there's another one, which I think is a scarier one.
Reverse dive tuck.
Oh, spoiler. Reverse dive tuck. Who cares about the splash? Do you hear the delayed clapping? Like, I loved that my parents would take videos but sometimes like there was I will not grace the screen with this, but there was a swimming, like one of the swimming events that I had to do, and I had done okay. I mean, I was like it was the last 3 people of the 100 or so that had gone, but I was like doing okay, but I didn't touch the board hard enough. And then you just hear my dad go, touch the board, touch it, Amber, touch it. And then like him and my mom talking about, they're like, oh, she didn't touch it. That's why she did. And then the discourse was crazy. But my mom brings up a good point. So I did swimming after in freshman gym class. You have to like we lived in I don't know if it's typical for most high schools, but we live in a lake town. So like there's a good reason to learn how to swim. Obviously, it's a good life skill. You have to like learn how to flow and swim down and back and tread water, life skills. I got a D in swimming my freshman year. And then after all that, my friends were like, we're going to go dive. And I was like, I want to as well. And then my mom was like, you got a D in swimming. And I was like a very star student. So like for me to get a D in anything was kind of catastrophic. But yeah, to prove it to myself, I did it. Now, another thing is in my adulthood, last year I took a swim class with my friend Laura. Now I can swim very effectively. So it only took 29 years, but we made it, guys. Okay. Now, the last thing I'm going to show you in terms of high school sports is gymnastics. And so you might be thinking, Amber, you don't got much punch to you. And you're so right. And that is why this is about to embarrass the fuck out of me. But we're going to make it through. We're going to make it. Oh, God. Okay. So this is tough. This video has like every performance that year. And I'm like, oh, which one do I show you? We're gonna do this one. Yep. Okay. I think it's a minute and a half. We're just gonna watch this together and then we're gonna move on with our lives. Simone Biles, who? This girl. This is good for my health. Oh yeah, there we go. Here's where it gets real cute. Let's be so clear. I was the comedic relief of the team. Everyone else was like really wicked. Me, not so much. I just like made everyone laugh. And that's okay. Still got it. So dumb. An important moment at the very end. I was pointed the wrong way. And I do the seal pose at the end on accident. Like, what the hell was that? Wait, here we go. And seal. That is, yep, the human manifestation of a seal. Ashley, thank you so much. I don't think I could now. I drunkenly sprained my wrist like 2 years ago, and I don't think load bearing is ever in the cards for me. So, yeah, that is what I mean by I did a lot, but I did not. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, guys. I don't deserve any praise because that shit was wild. But yes, so I had to do the brief intermission to show you my talents. I will not besmirch this stream with the band. Like the band stuff, that's too much for me. Okay. We're moving forward. We've got our friend Sam. Thankfully, we are best friends. That's also where I met my business partner Matt. So they were good friends, and so a lot of invisible strings were tied back then. But this is where I would say the presentation up until this point has been pretty, like, I had good stories lined up, and now we're getting into no man's land of like, I made it 2 hours before we're presenting just now. So if you guys have any favorite Amber quotes, Amber stories, Amber idioms, put them in the chat. We could chit chat about them, because this is just going to get to like the most unhinged but like chaotic part. So anyways, we've got our girl Amber, our girl. She figured out what a tanning bed was right at the end of at high school. So Lexi and I went off to Oakland University, had so much fun. Pictures of the girls I graduated with, so much fun. My sweet grandma Linda, love her so much. We had our final PP club before I graduated, and then we went off to college. Now this is where we would call it character development, because up till this moment, let's recap. Did all that crazy shit in high school, was pretty okay, pretty okay at like doing well enough, making people laugh, like being sufficient at things, like completing tasks, not being awesome, but like I got like a 3.99 GPA. Like I was like doing too much. Now we get into our first failures. So 2013, I go to Oakland University. That summer had started working in cornfields, very Midwestern thing to do. I joined a sorority, Alpha Delta Pi. We live for each other, hell yeah. But that semester, because I joined the sorority and I was also in Calc 2, I was also studying computer science, which I now appreciate looking back, because I do obviously I don't code, but like the logic and the structure of it, I was good at back then. But anyways, Calc 2, I was partying all the time, not sleeping, craziness. So I dropped out of Calc 2, not knowing that all of my scholarships were tied to taking 28 credit hours my freshman year. So just like that, 25 grand, poof, to the wind. So let's imagine I just did all that work through the 4 years of high school to get as much, scholarships as possible just to piss it away. That crushed my ass, flattened me flat, like just completely. So I took myself back home, went to Glen Oaks Community College, worked full-time as a bartender, like a little server. I also was working in the cornfield still. Then I worked for like the Monsanto production labs. That was a whole journey. So I really just started living the very Midwestern life. And that's when I was telling my neighbor, I was like, I'm going to be an accountant. I'm just going to go get an accounting degree. He's like, no, you're going to be an engineer. And I was like, that seems hard to me. I don't want to. Feeling like a pretty big freaking failure right now. He's like, no, you're going to be an engineer. And I was like, whatever, sure. If Gary says it, I'll do it. So this is also where I met, and just to like put in perspective, I did not put my cutest photos. Kelsey and I met, Kelsey's in this little photo as well. We met at Monsanto, and we became lifelong good friends. And then she introduced me to Blake as well. I call them my old corn grandmas, good friends. I missed a lot of photos in this deck, but whatever, had to peep. So in 2014, 2015-ish, my sister got married, so we've got some cute photos from there. Started bartending, all sorts of stuff. But then we go and we transfer to Western Michigan University. This is really where the plot thickens. So I then start bartending up in Kalamazoo. I worked at the Alamo Draft House. I've got this nose ring. It was just like a whole movement. I just started, that was the beginning. Also, my sweet baby River, my sister's daughter, was born. And obviously she could smell the fear coming off of me, and I don't blame her for that. So 2013 through 2016 was a fever dream of failure after failure after failure after failure of like, what the fuck am I doing? So in 2016, that was right, the timeline here gets a little gray because I was very drunk for those years. So I then get an internship at Anheuser-Busch, and this is like a critical plot point, I would say, for the trajectory of Amber over the years. So Boston Amber, the best way to describe her is how to describe. She was just unhinged in a new way. So I was going on like Bumble dates every night of the week just to get dinner. Like I was like, this is no long. I was like, yeah, we'll hang out with some dudes, but like I just need to be fed because I was just so severely poor at this point, living in Boston, and I made like okay money, like, but like not enough. And so I was just going on all sorts of dates, going all over the place. But the funny thing about this girl, this version of me right here, is going into this era, which I was trying to keep this pretty positive and light, but let's go back in time actually. Okay, so a little to catch us up on the plot, and I'm gonna run out of time before we get to like the most recent years, but like you guys see me, that we talk about that all the time. So in 2016, I was working at the Alamo Draft House, and I was in the middle of doing 19 credit hours in my spring semester and trying to look for summer internships. And I get a message during the middle of class and it says, hey, Alamo Draft House is closing. And I go, what? That's my job. And so again, let's remember, very poor college student. And I was about to go to Boston for the summer and I knew I needed a job to come back to. So that's when I started looking for other jobs so that I would start a job in the spring and then come back to it in the fall. So there was like many points to this. First and foremost, 19 credit hours of engineering in your junior year sucks ass by itself. Then I'm working 25 hours a weekend at the Alamo Draft House, and they were offering severance packages. So if I stayed all the way through the end, which was April 3rd, 2016, funny. If I stayed all the way through the end, I was going to get like $3,000. And $3,000 to me at that point, huge. I mean, even to me today would be huge. Third plot point, I then had to start a middle of the week job so that I could come back to a job when I came back my senior year at Signal Automation. So I'm now working 40 hours a week and doing 19 credit hours. And triply, I'm living in a almost trap house. It is disgusting. So I had already prepaid my year of like $300 a month in rent because that's, college. But I moved to live in a $200 a month rent place because I was already like living at the engineering college basically. So I moved into this place that had three bedrooms, 4 people, 2 dogs, 2 cats, and a rabbit. And I had to share a bathroom with just one of the most disgusting people I've ever met. He peed on my bath mat. What I'm saying is my mental health at this point, pretty bad. So by the time I made it to Boston, they were like, you can only work 40 hours. And I'm like, that's it? What do I do with the rest of my time? So I would work like 3 12-hour shifts and then a little bit of a Thursday. And then I'm like, do you have overtime for me? And they'd go, no. And they'd be like, sick, I'm going to go take a 2.5-day weekend. Or like, I'm going to peel out early. So then I was kayaking, I was drinking, I was going on dates, I was doing everything. And then while I was like there, when I first got to Boston, I was talking to them and they were like, oh my gosh, you had the most incredible interview. And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, yeah, you told that like tequila joke. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And so we're gonna zoom back out. So I was interviewing for the Boston Anheuser-Busch interview, and they asked me for a time that I had received negative feedback. And at that time I was working at a hole-in-the-wall bar. And in my brain I was like, well, I've never received bad feedback because I'm too great at everything. These are real thoughts I had. But if I was to say one thing is I was chopping up limes and they were saying citrus is expensive. So instead of doing semicircles, let's do quarter circles. And I was like, okay, we'll give it a shot. But then when people were taking shots of tequila, they would take 3 or 4 quarter circles. Now, if you can do math with me, that 4 times a quarter equals 1 whole slice of lime, not a half slice. So it, although good in idea, it in practice didn't actually achieve the goal. They were going to run through way more citrus. So I'm telling this long, drawn-out story in this interview, just like I told it just now. And I said, I took it with a grain of salt and I moved on. which I did. But then the interviewers laughed and I didn't know why. So I just kind of moved on and like didn't think about it. So I get all the way to Boston, drive 14 hours from Michigan all the way to Boston through Canada, show up, and they're like, oh my gosh, iconic interview. They had hired me based on charisma. And I was like, oh shit, they don't know that I'm dumb. And I was like, ah! So that's when I cracked off and started working insane like projects and pushing myself to learn SQL and all these like all the stuff. And so then obviously through the internship, they're like, oh wait, she's actually a really hard worker. And I'm like, gotcha. So ipso facto, this girl was fueled by her own need to prove herself, which worked out. To get the other thing was she's also a little deranged and manipulative. So I was out, like I knew the Boston truck drivers had this like persona about them that they're like all big and scary and whatever. So I was like, can't be big and scared of me if I go take smoke breaks with you. So I'm Pee Wee Jackson here. I'm 170 pounds soaking wet. And I'm out there with like chain smoking with truck drivers. And of course, they thought I was hilarious. So I've got a lot of them on Facebook still. But like, anyways, Boston Amber was gritty as fuck. And thankfully, it's like almost like a persona I just don't put on anymore. It's like, that was younger me. So then I came back into my late college. Now this I would say is the most emotionally turbulent of my years because I wasn't sleeping and I also wasn't making any money. Now, in my later years, obviously I'm paid to be stressed, so like it's a little different. So, oh, I didn't pull up the keg video. That would have been cool. Okay, anyways, so we've got a few cute projects. I'm still bartending, drinking a lot. Now, the funny thing about this photo here is I'm wearing glasses. Guess what? I don't need glasses. I got 20/20 vision, but I wore them because I thought people would think I was smarter. This girl cared a lot about what everyone thought. But like not everyone, because I still had the same spunk I've got now, but like back then I was like, oh, professionals are going to think I'm more professional. No, guess what? That probably gave me this fucking lazy eye that you see in this photo. Also, I had like this, if there is one picture to use as a way to not pick at your blemishes, this one is it. You should scare yourself with that because this lip was infected for 4 months. I would Neosporin if Sarah's on. She knows exactly how horrible this thing was. Oh yes, actually I will bring up the keg video. It's gonna mess with the FPS, but I don't care. I'm gonna bring it up. So the thing about this is like this lip. How did I go in public with it? Horrific. Okay. Anyways, we then have this girl. So and again, none of this did I know that I had ADHD. So I never understood why I was up at all hours trying to get the same stuff that everyone else was getting done. But I had accidentally deleted a report I had worked on for like 3 weeks, and I deleted it 3 days. 3 days. I'm exacerbating details. Anyways, she was emotionally damaged. Now, I'm going to tell the rest of the stories on this page, and then I'm going to bring up the keg video. So this picture right here is, I went home. The thing about Sturgis, Michigan is, let's talk. Sturgis, Michigan has 10,000 people and a bowling alley named Nicky's. Rest in peace. That bowling alley I don't think is there anymore, or at least Nicky's isn't. I don't really actually remember. Anyways, Nicky's is this very fantastical place where you go in and then you wake up in your bed the next day. Like you just completely black out. There's nothing left of you. So I went home to visit some of my old corn grandmas, loved them so much, and my friend Sam, previously mentioned, was at a wedding. So she came in her bridesmaid's dress afterwards. I then, obviously, it's a small town, so I call my dad and I go, hi, help, pick me up, please. And he was so proud. He was so proud that I had called to, get a ride instead of drunkenly driving, which I wouldn't do at that, not my game. so he picked us up and I was like, I need Taco Bell. So he takes us through Taco Bell, and I wish I had the video, but I am just going up and down. I'm like, you guys are the realest. Thank you so much, blah, blah. So I'm eating this Taco Bell, just so stoked. And then we get to the doorway of our house, and I threw up all over the porch, all over it. Now let's remember, I grew up in a sober household, so it's not like anyone had represented this behavior. So yeah, I would say it was like a proud dad moment, and then just disgusting. So, but in that photo is the aftermath the next morning, and I'm feeling fresh as a daisy. Sam looks horrible, but anyways, this picture up at the top with me doing this weird finger thing, the funny thing about that class is I was so sleepy all the time because I'd been up all hours. The professor of that class would call me the dumpster fire, because I would paint my nails in that class. I would take naps. I would do stupid things with my fingers, all this stuff. But yeah, so anyways, this girl, little loony bins. I am gonna pull up the keg lifter video though, because I think it's kind of funny. So in that class with the guy that called me a dumpster fire, there was a product design class that your grade was how well you placed at the Innovation Day conference, and you have to like do your pitch, you have to make something, and I'd been bartending a lot, so we created this idea of a keg lifter. So I'm gonna go find that video. But, oh yeah, here we go. This thing's a real marvel. Uh-oh. Ooh, let me download it real quick. Oh God. Okay, buckle in. We got first place with this, so. This is Austin Tarhanic and Nick Rowe. Love them. And then this is where your girl comes in. So it's an ATV winch that goes down and picks it up, kind of like a crane. It's connected to a car battery. It did not make sense, but... But yeah, then it just picks the keg up, and then you could put the shelf back in, and then you can double stack, basically. Come on, get to the point. Our girl. Then you could like slide it between different shelving units, so then it could be like scalable, because you don't want to buy a billion winches. Removable storage, so good. And then you could put stuff on top as well, so tripling the storage. So silly. Anyways, so yeah, that all led together to going to Anheuser-Busch. Now we've got about 5 minutes left, so I'm just gonna keep rolling. But Harry, thank you so much for the kind words. The other story I saw, the Digestibles. I wish I could pull up a picture real quick, but there's a little snack, apparently like an international snack called Digestibles, and I thought, oh, it's like it's got to throw a little twang on it. It's got to be Digestives or Digestibles. Nope, just digestives. So I want to do the quickest of call outs to this fellow here in the corner, Jordan Weinstein. These are the two Jordans, Jordan West and Jordan Weinstein. We worked together on the lift team for like 4 or 5 years, and this is where I learned healthy debate, because Jordan always came with facts, data, knowledge. Like we were sparring partners. And the funny thing is we're also really good friends. And so his girlfriend is Anna. She's right next to me in the pool. Love her so much as well. The funny thing about this guy is that we would go to this like hole in the wall bar called D's. And so we would go there, and he was really good at just cutting me deep, but like not being wrong. The art of a really impactful roast. So before, I had a different headshot at AB that I looked a bit thicker. I was a bit heavier. I looked probably 20 pounds heavier. And I showed him both photos, and he was like, oh, I like this one, but like, oh my gosh, like you look a little thick in this one. And I was like, damn, you got me. But all of a sudden, good fun. Now we were at D's, and the bartender goes, oh, well, aren't you just so cute, hun? And I was wearing a polo that day with my hair pulled back. And he's like, you should see her when she doesn't look like a lesbian. Oh, shot to the heart. Now, what I've learned over the years is a lot of lesbians are super duper hot. So you know what? I was ahead of my time. But anyways, AB really unlocked a lot of everything. So the cool thing is I got to annotate like MC a breakdancing battle at a professional conference. That was interesting. And then the cool thing about during COVID is I decided to take it was a $12 plane ticket from Belleville, Illinois to Tampa, Florida. And I worked from there for a month and just worked from my computer, which was wicked. And I would shotgun a beer every day at noon. So dreams really do come true. I'm going to wrap this up so fast. St. Louis Amber was a fucking psycho. Then one day in 2022, Matt came into the pictures. He's like, hey, you should leave your job and work with me. And I said, no, you can't afford. And then I ran the numbers, and then I was like, maybe you can afford. And that is when my independence, Viva la Revolution, on July 15th, 2023, my friend Sam and I both moved back to our hometown at the same time. So since then, I had quite the identity crisis of like detaching myself from, this like Anheuser-Busch persona and what I can do and who I am. And then I had to just look inward and be like, oh, I'm just Amber. And that's okay. And like, then I really dug deep with like the ADHD and all of that stuff. This is all, I'm speeding through the end of this, but also I'm allergic to ragweed. So I tried to go back to farming, and Mother Nature said no. Some cute recent photos, just wanted to make sure my sweet Samantha and Chloe and Matt get included because these are cute, sweet photos. But yeah, overall, that has been 30 years of Amber's life. I think I could do 6 more presentations on just the last 10 years. You definitely got the goods for the first 10, but I hope you all had fun. Thanks for listening to my nonsense, and we'll be back to regularly scheduled content next week. I will be learning the let function, but I encourage you guys to join the Discord, and I'll be on for a little bit after this in the chit chat chamber. I will not be practicing Excel because I did my taxes last night and I categorized 1,800 expenses, and I would like to not touch Excel tonight. So, is it true that Amber means advance with caution? I don't think I've ever heeded caution in my life. I think I just go headfirst into whatever I'm doing. But Mom, thank you so much. Need to see more Amber commentaries. What's been the most enjoyable Amber era? Ooh, I think I had the most fun in my middle school era, like elementary, I would say middle school era, where I was just playing a lot of GameCube and like doing me. I think that was the best, most enjoyable. But then the last 2 years have been pretty wicked, especially connecting with the Excel community, finding such firm community that's like so similar to me and supportive and like pushing forward, and then realizing that everything is under my fingertips. I can just do stuff. Like, you can just start a business. You can have a live stream with a glittery jacket on and connect with people all over the place, and like you can just start doing stuff. This is the most sure I've ever been about who I am and what I want to do. And like, I know everyone like hits 30 and then they're like, oh, I found me. But it's kind of true. I mean, my 20s kind of stunk. It was a lot of overworking, undervaluing myself, and like, she was just like so unsure. And now I'm just really sure that I'm tired. Bye, Ashley. Have a safe flight. But yes, okay. Thank you for all the happy birthdays. And it's on Saturday, so if anyone's in the Michigan area wants to come out to the casino, I will be at the roulette table. But yeah, okay. I'm gonna go hop to the chit chat chamber over in Discord for a little while. Yeah, I never know if this is gonna end or if this is gonna fizzle out, so I'm gonna press the stop streaming button.